When talking about the foundations of magic, one would be remiss in forgetting shamanism. Shamanism is the true foundation of all magic. Every culture on the planet has ancestral ties to shamanism in some fashion. There are the obvious ones, like the indigenous shamans of Iberia, Africa, North and South America, Australia, and New Zealand. These are the shamans most people think of when discussing shamanism. However, there are lesser known shamanic cultures or groups, such as those in Central Asia, the Inuits of Alaska, and even the secret Odinic warrior shaman cults of Scandinavia. Despite being separated by land and sea, the shamanic practices from various parts of the world all have the same core methodologies. As Horner notes, wherever shamanism is still encountered today, the shaman functions in fundamentally the same way and with similar techniques, as guardians of the psychic and ecological equilibrium of his group and its members, as intermediary between the seen and unseen worlds, as master of spirits, as supernatural curer, etc. The shaman is able to transcend the human condition and pass freely back and forth through the different cosmological planes. While shamanism can and is used for a variety of purposes, it is widely regarded as a system of healing. However, it is the methodology of healing, or the how, that sparks interest. This is where magic comes into play for shamanism. For the most part, shamans don't cast spells in the same way a modern-day occultist would. Shamans, in general, do not use the traditional tools of witchcraft and magic, such as the athame, wand, or chalice. Instead, most shamanic tribes use just a few main tools, such as drums, rattles, flutes, bones, and even psychedelic or psychoactive plants and herbs. Of course, there are additional aids a shaman may use, such as crystals, which they use to house spirits. Shamans are also known to use stones, feathers, staffs, and other fetish items or totem items. Shamans are also known to incorporate modern tools into their works, like mirrors, and if needed, would have no problem utilizing the tools of a witch. As noted earlier, a shaman truly stands at the crossroads between the planes. When a shaman does magic, they do so by incorporating many of the above elements into a ritual that culminates in veritable contact with various spirits. It's through these spirits that shamans do the bulk of their magic. A common theme you'll find among the various shamanic systems is that they are spirit-led, or rely heavily on the aid of spirits. They did not rely on their own limited human abilities. They would contact and compact with spirits to accomplish their goals. So let's first take a look at how shamans got in touch with spirits to work their magic. Shamanic journeying. A core technique utilized in shamanism to perform magic is shamanic journeying. This is a soul travel technique utilized by shamans to travel to various worlds for various purposes via the axis mundi. These purposes consist of healing, conversing with spirit allies, pathworking, and even divination. The axis mundi symbolism can be recognized in other systems such as Kabbalah, the ladder in many chaos paradigms, or even the stairway imagery used by the Laika people. Now, let's discuss the most common place for shamans to do their work: the underworld. The underworld is generally where shamans would go to perform various healings, such as soul retrieval, or to confront negative spirits that may be attacking or affecting a client, a family member, or even the shaman themselves. The underworld is a place of raw, unbridled power. This does not mean it's dangerous, but its power is primal and one should respect it. The underworld is also a place of personal empowerment, and one has much to learn when journeying through the underworld. Various spirits inhabit the underworld, such as the dead, familiars, certain animal spirits like totem or power animals, demons, and spirit guides. While it's generally safe to explore, one should know basic shielding technique, as not every spirit you will encounter will be helpful or an ally. There are various doorways to other worlds while shamanic journeying. These doorways can lead to numerous places, such as the realm of the dead or even the demonic realm. Now let's take a journey up through the world tree, out of the underworld, and into the middle world. The middle world is a more earthen or earthbound realm, as it's closest to our own 3D realm, and is related mainly to the spirits of our natural world. Beings like the genius Loki, plant spirits, the elementals, land spirits, and nature spirits such as fairies or goblins. Most of these spirits have their own realms that can be explored, such as the elementals. However, be wary of the middle world. There are many doorways to the middle world, and beings both human and otherwise can enter the middle world, and you could run into them. You have to assume that some will be negative and hostile, so it's always best to have your shields up and know reversal magic. Now let's take our final ascent upwards to the top of the world tree and visit the upper world. The upper world is the realm of the more holy or pure or sacred spirits and beings, such as angels, archangels, saints or heroes, deities, and one's personal holy guardian angel or holy daimon. While spirit guides can be found in the underworld, those spirits are best for being a guide through the various realms and worlds. It's the beings of the upper world that you would want guiding you in your daily life. Shamans visit these worlds and perform all kinds of magic, but notice the common thread here are the spirits. The three worlds are crawling with various types of spirits, and the shaman is intimately acquainted with almost each type. Through contracts with these spirits, shamans are able to perform their magic. Even techniques that shamans do on their own, such as soul retrievals, are still done under the guidance and wisdom of the spirits. But how exactly would shamans initiate a shamanic journey? Let's explore. The exact methodology of starting a journey varies from culture to culture, but there are a couple of common themes, such as the use of psychedelic plants, sacred music, ritual dancing or chanting, or a combination of these things can be used to induce an altered state of consciousness. It should be noted that shamans would ingest psychedelic plants via drinking or eating them, or even applying it on the skin at specific points. After mixing them into a salva or a balm, this would allow the shaman to more easily enter an altered state and allow them to begin the second phase, which is finding a physical opening that could represent, symbolically, the entrance to the underworld. This entrance would almost always be represented by a natural opening within the earth, such as caves, caverns, gorges, and sinkholes. If the shaman lives in an area that does not have such natural openings readily available, the shaman would create their own by digging an adult-sized hole and would lie within it and cover themselves. It is in these openings that the shaman begins the actual act of descent. Now, while shamanic journeying is probably the most popular technique to come out of shamanism, it is certainly not the only technique shamans use to work magic. Before we close out, let's take a final look at another method shamans use to work magic: spirit possession. When one thinks of spirit possession in the occult context, most of the time, images of a Hunganaswoge, which is a Voodoo priest or priestess, a Palero, Obeyaman, or some other initiate of an ATR or ADR readily come to mind. Usually, they are dancing or chanting and swaying side to side as they prepare to be ridden by a deity or another type of spirit, such as a Loa, an Orisha, an Eshu, or a Pambagira, among a host of other spirits. However, intimate contact with spirits via possession is a hallmark of shamanic practice. To be quite honest, the methods of spirit possession have largely remained unchanged when the practice was adopted by the ATRs and the ADRs. What the shamans of old did to initiate ritual possession, for the most part, is done today by various indigenous sorceress groups. Shamans would engage in spirit possession for various purposes, but a few are the exorcising of demons or other negative entities or spirits, certain healing rituals, divination and oracular rituals, as well as rituals of initiation for themselves and, if necessary, for others. Contrary to popular belief, possession does not look like it does in the movies and is more often done by benefic spirits rather than evil spirits. It should also be noted that when a shaman is possessed, they may or may not retain some semblance of control. There are different levels or degrees of possession, and not all of them require the shaman to fully relinquish control. If the shaman is after wisdom or knowledge, full possession may not be necessary. However, if the shaman is after an oracle or going through an initiatic process, they may need to go through full ritual possession. In a broader but still classical context, we can see this manifest in things like invocation, god form assumption, or the drawing down of a deity. All of these techniques are essentially forms of possession. Some are much more mild or a lighter form, such as invocation, but you are still inviting a spirit into your own sphere of being, and therefore it counts as a form of possession. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to like the video, share it out with your friends, share it on your social media platforms. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Check out my TikTok, check out my website, and as always, seek the mysteries.